Perhaps you?
Welcome to the Morbid Hour.
Oh yeah.
Good evening.
Greetings.
Great to be back. Oh yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, absolutely. Very excited.
Same
We're
here.
going to count down our top horror sequels, and we're going to talk about thrash metal band Testament.
Yes.
Hell
Go
yeah.
through their discography.
I very much enjoyed going through their discography, I must say.
Nice.
They've got a lot of gems.
Indeed. A lot of it I'd never heard before, so it was new to me. So that was
Yeah.
cool.
Cool.
Pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. Good
I've
stuff.
always felt that Testament was probably my favorite thrash band. They were the first thrash band that I experienced at a young age that was outside the big four, and I just loved them. So I've just grown up with Testament, so I'm excited to talk about them.
Yeah. Same here.
Cool.
Yeah, I've always been a big Testament fan.
Oh yeah.
I'm getting there.
Oh, yeah. So who wants to begin with their 10th favorite horror sequel?
John, if you want to go first.
Sure. Dayman Omen 2. Also a highly underrated one, I think.
Oh
Yeah, I just think it's fantastic, man. I've
Good
watched this a
choice.
few times recently. It's just excellent. I can't believe it's not more talked about, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe because it didn't have, you know, the same cast. Maybe that's why people don't notice it as much. But
Yeah.
I think the kid that plays him here is so good. The kid that plays Damien. He just nails it. And, you know, you got William Holden's a great actor, you know? A great cast.
For sure. But yeah.
I love the, you know, the death scenes are more brutal, you know.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty crazy stuff. I like how the like this time he uses the crow to do his dirty work, you know, before it's like the dogs. He
Yep.
Mhm.
love, you know, love how he makes everything look like it's natural causes or whatever.
Yeah.
The best part, my favorite part, is in the school, in the classroom with the teacher, and he's like, "What are you laughing at?" And the teacher starts quizzing him on history, and he just answers everything immediately. Like
Yeah.
he starts sweating. You know, like, he runs out of things to ask him.
Yeah, it was a great scene.
And then Lance Henriksen is like, "What are you doing? You showing off? What is it?"
Yeah. Great one.
Yeah, it's a great sequel for sure, and it is very underrated. I agree. In some ways, I find it a little more enjoyable than the first. In some ways,
In some ways, yes. Hey, Jen.
Jen is in the chat. How's it going?
Hey, what's
What's
up?
up?
How are you?
So I guess I will go ahead and get my number 10 or so out of the way. Uh, I found that doing this, top horror sequels list, I was actually like, man, there's so many good horror.
I know, right?
Like, there's so many gems, classics. So I think I'd have a few off to the side that I'll honorable mention later. But start off
Yeah.
with Hellbound Hellraiser 2.
Excellent.
Uh, this is, to me, the perfect sequel with the original. With this franchise and how weird it gets down the road, 1 and 2 definitely feel like the perfect matchup.
I know it's like they go hand in hand, kind of. I always want to watch 2 when I watch 1. Yeah.
Yeah, I always watch them back to back too.
Yeah.
It's a great double feature.
Like a package deal.
The returning characters, Ashley Lawrence Kirsty, who's always been one of my favorite final girls that I feel like doesn't get a whole lot of recognition a lot.
I know, right?
Of course, you get Claire Higgins' Julia back again, who's now the main villain, and she's great.
Now she's like the main villain in this.
Yeah.
Kind of
her and Dr.
along
Jenner.
with Dr. Chenard, yeah.
Yeah.
And you got, of course, the returning fights. Don't even make their first actual entrance till like 50 minutes into the movie, and it doesn't really bother you because the way that they handle the Cenobites in the first 2, even though they're very sporadically through, they still feel like, oh shit, here they come.
Mm-hmm.
So, Hellbound Hellraiser 2, I love the film. I think it's a fantastic sequel and definitely a great pair up with the original.
Most definitely. I actually liked it better when the Cenobites and Pinhead were like supporting characters.
Mm-hmm.
When Pinhead became the main focus, I think that this kind of went downhill a little bit. I liked it better when they were just like part of the plot in the first 2 movies. And I just wish Frank was in it a little more. I wish he was in the second
True.
one more.
He just kind of does a little cameo.
Pretty much. Well, number 10 is going to be Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2.
Nice.
Yeah, I love this movie. I love that it takes a completely different approach than the first movie. The first movie was a straight-up scary horror film. This one is definitely a horror comedy. It's very over the top with the gore and the comedy and just everything. Everything's just crazy. It's a very, very zany, very wacky movie, and I love it for that. Yeah, I've always been a fan of this one ever since I first rented it from the video store. I always loved it. So definitely one of my favorite sequels.
Yeah, like you said, everything's over the top. Everything's like to the extreme.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely love it. So crazy.
Yeah, it is. But that's the great thing about it. That's what makes it different than the original,
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that they took a different direction. Just
Me too.
rehash the original. That would be boring.
And wow, one of the most quotable horror films ever. Oh,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Lick
No
my
question.
plate. I will hunt.
Yeah.
So good. Great choice.
Look what you did to my plate cover, you bitch hog.
Love it.
Look what you did to my Sonny Bono wig.
So many great lines.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Pope is in the chat. How's it going, Mike?
Hey, what's up?
What's up, man? I agree, Jen.
Yeah, I agree, Jen. Definitely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That would have been way better.
Well, my next up, even though I do hold the original in much higher regard, and that's not the same feeling of most people, but
Mhm.
Bride of Frankenstein. I mean, it's just a classic. I mean, you gotta have it on there. I mean, most people would say it's one of the greatest sequels of all time, and I can't really argue that. Even though I have a couple little issues with it. It's not perfect for me, but there's a lot of great stuff from there. I mean, I love everything with the monster. I love,
Yeah.
I love when he's talking with the old man and learning how to talk and stuff. That's some of my favorite stuff.
Mhm.
Like drink good, smoke good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that the monster talks a lot this time.
Yeah. And he's still great. Like Boris Karloff's so great as the monster. I mean, you can't beat
Absolutely.
it. But it definitely has a more campy feel, in my opinion, than the second one. Although there is some scary stuff, but yeah. Like that doctor is very over the top, I think.
Dr. Pretorius, he's awesome.
Yeah, Dr. Pretorius, right?
Ernest Thesiger did a great job in that role. He just hammed it up so nicely.
Yeah, it's entertaining.
Yeah, very much so.
The old lady kills me, though.
Yeah.
The Irish lady.
Yeah.
The way she reacts, like, whoa, when she gets scared. Like, oh my god.
My lady. Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
It's highly enjoyable, though. I mean, and I love what they do with the bride, even though she's only in it like 5 minutes. It's a great
I wish she
look.
was in it
It's
more.
a cool character.
Yeah.
True. Yeah, and you do get that great line, "We belong dead."
Yeah.
Great pick.
It's like I wish she was in it a little more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too. Wish she had more screen time.
Yeah. It's a great look. It's a cool character.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Very iconic.
It's iconic. I mean, look how iconic her character is, and she's only in the movie 5 minutes. What does that tell you?
Yeah.
True.
Like the makeup job and the hair and
Yeah, definitely iconic.
Yeah.
Well, next up for me, this is also one of those lists where I would tell folks, don't pay too much to where they're placed, because I could have a classic now and then just a fun movie later on above it. And I'm not saying it's above it, but next up for me, Psycho 2, phenomenal sequel. Whoever would have thought that a sequel to Psycho would have been that good, but it was. I just think, to me, this is the most rewatchable Psycho. Maybe Psycho 3 in terms of enjoyment factor, but as far as like story goes and mystery, I really love this one. This is one I go to a lot, and I think that Anthony Perkins delivers a fantastic performance in this movie. The whole thing being there's murders going on, but he's trying to live a normal life, and he doesn't even know if he's doing it. He's like, I think I'm doing it. I don't know. Meg Tilly's character, who was Marion Crane's niece, because Lila Crane is her mother, they trying to get him sent back, but she almost kind of forms a relationship with him, and it's kind of a weird thing. But I liked where they went, and yeah. This was written by Tom Holland, who I'm already a fan of as a director, with Bright Night, Child's Play.
right.
I think those in this movie, the very little they are still really good. Knife down the throat. Oh,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I can't talk highly enough about Psycho 2. I definitely think it's one of the greatest ever made.
I love it.
Absolutely.
Has a lot of interesting twists and turns.
Oh, yeah.
Excellent choice.
Thank you.
So my number 9 is going to be Aliens.
Nice.
Nice.
I know this is more like sci-fi action than a horror movie, not like the first one, which was a straight up horror. Well,
Mhm.
horror sci-fi. I still count it as a horror movie. And it's a great one. It's one of the best. And Sigourney Weaver as Ripley. This is my favorite. My favorite Ripley is in this movie. She was just so badass. One of the best heroines I've ever seen. Just tough as nails.
Oh yeah.
Like an action hero, basically. Yeah, she was just great. And the special effects of the aliens, the xenomorphs look amazing. Some great action, some great violence. Great scenery, just everything's done really, really well. And I can't decide whether I like this or Alien better. It's I like them both in totally different ways. It's very hard to
Yeah.
choose between them. But that's just a testament to how great of a sequel it is. It's hard to decide whether or not it's better than the original. It's that good.
That's true.
Yeah, I just love it. Aliens, magnificent sequel. Too bad I can't say the same for the rest of the series after that.
Yeah. I know, right?
Yeah. Aliens.
It's almost similar to the Terminator franchise when it comes to that, right? You
Yeah,
got 1, 2, and then it's like downward spiral.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, next up would be a favorite of many, many horror fans. A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, Dream Warriors.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't love? I don't know anybody that doesn't love Dream Warriors. You know, it's like it's just everybody talks about it, everybody loves it, and they're right. It's great. It's incredibly fun. It's incredibly enjoyable. It's imaginative with the dream sequences, and I love the idea of the Dream Warriors themselves. The idea that people could get together and join forces in the dream and have their own powers and to take on Freddy. You know, it's so cool. It's a cool concept.
Absolutely.
And you know, I love Nancy coming back is great. You know, I love her part. And yeah, you got a lot of great really interesting characters. You know, fantastic.
Definitely agree. Great pick.
Yeah, it's not as dark or scary as the first two, but I think it's a lot more entertaining. And this is the first time Freddy started really being funny too.
Right.
And I love how people have powers in their dreams. That was a great concept. I like how that was introduced in the series in this installment. That was really cool.
Yeah.
Very fun movie. Very enjoyable.
Yeah.
And Nancy being the dream expert. You know.
Yeah. I love Nancy's return too.
Which that totally made sense for her character that ended up like growing up to be studying dreams. And
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
You got John Saxon coming back too, the
Yeah,
her brother.
Yeah.
Yep. Love it. My next one, I will give you a hint to what it is. When there's no more room in hell, the dead.
That's a pretty big hint.
Yeah. I mean, it's Dawn of the Dead. What else can you say? Not only sequels, but one of the greatest horror movies ever made. One of the greatest films ever made. I mean, it's incredible. I love the setting in the mall. The characters are fantastic. I mean, yeah, the blue zombies, they weird, but for the time, and I still kind of like them today. I think they have a unique look to them, and they look pretty cool.
True.
I think the gore effects are really cool. Definitely Ken Foree, probably my favorite character in this movie. Peter,
Yeah.
I think awesome. Boy's pretty funny, especially the way he hits that one zombie with the hammer, and he like chucks his whole body in.
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely my favorite George Romero, my personal favorite of the Romero films. Followed very close by Night. Yeah, everything about this film, the score by Goblin is amazing. The fact that Dario Argento helped out with this film too, and is really cool. So
Yeah.
hell yeah, Dawn of the Dead, fantastic film.
Hell yeah.
Love it. The ultimate zombie film in a lot of ways.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree.
King of them all.
It's incredible. It's
My next one's going to be Hellbound, Hellraiser 2.
nice.
Yeah, I guess it had a bigger budget than the first one because it's a lot more epic and adventurous, I guess. I actually do prefer the first over this one. A lot of people like this one better. I do prefer the original, but this is a darn good sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Expands on the original in a lot of ways. We get kind of a backstory for the Cenobites this time, and they even turned good at one point. Pinhead and company. Yeah, Dr. Channer is the new villain. He becomes a Cenobite himself, and Julia is accompanied by Julia, who is more of an antagonistic role this time. The first one, it was kind of just like she was doing Frank's bidding, like she was kind of reluctant. She was kind of forcing her to serve her. This one, she's straight up evil. I guess her time in
straight up.
hell. Yeah, I guess spending time in hell had something to do with it. But yeah, the Cenobites look great. The makeup is great. Great special effects. Practical effects, some stop animation, and some awesome makeup work and animatronics and costumes. Just a great sequel. It's a masterpiece. Absolutely love it. This is like the Empire Strikes Back of horror for me.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. It's just a masterpiece in every way. Absolutely love it.
Take your best shot, Snow White.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still say to this day, some of the gore in that movie is gnarly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That one guy that thinks the bugs are crawling on him and he has the straight
Yeah. That was sick.
Yeah, get them off me.
Yeah.
And then when Julie comes out of the mattress, that's nasty.
Yeah. Skinless.
Some of my favorite lines with, Pinhead and
Yeah, me too. Time to play.
Next for me would be Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, baby. Freaking
Nice.
love this movie.
Me too.
It's so much fun and so entertaining. It's so crazy. Oh man, I love it. I love all the characters. I love Dennis Hopper and love seeing Jim Saito back as the cook. Drayton Sawyer is awesome.
Yep.
And what a great character, Chop Top. Bill Moseley. Probably my favorite role by him.
Mine too.
And just iconic. A lot of people don't like the Leatherface, but I liked him. It was kind of a different, almost like a little more of a sympathetic Leatherface, and it was something interesting.
Mhm.
Him having a little kind of relationship with Stretch there, trying to.
Bubba's got a girlfriend.
It's like a sick kind of thing though, like
Yeah.
puts his face on, puts the dude's face on her.
Yeah.
The That was one of the sickest scenes I've ever seen. Like when cuts the dude's face off.
Yeah. Pretty gruesome.
Yeah.
Definitely a lot gorier than the first one.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I still found that even with a lot of the gruesome stuff, they still managed to make it kind of funny in a way. You know,
Yeah.
like when the hell pops up after being skinned alive, he still makes time to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Death Metal Elitist is in the chat. How's it
What's
going,
up?
man? I'll have to check that out.
Wood, darling.
Darling. Well, funny enough that my next one up is Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always, in a way, even felt bad for this movie. 10 years ago, seemed like everyone loved it. Now people are like, that's one of the worst sequels ever. I'm like, where the hell did that come from?
What's wrong with these people?
You know, like, I hear that this movie is so incredibly loud. Like, all the screaming. And I'm like, well, there's kind of that in the original, too, especially in the last few dinner scenes.
Yeah.
To me, this is one of the most enjoyable sequels ever made. It's so much fun. I love the characters. Dennis Hopper is whacked out of his damn mind, but it's entertaining nonetheless. Like,
it all down.
you know that scene where at the chili cook-off, but Stretch visits Lefty to show him, like, this is the tape. I know what about it. And he seems all whacked out. I always wanted to know, like, what are you on here? Because he starts.
He probably is freaking high as a kite too.
Yeah, it looked like he was doing something right before. Before that scene.
He starts talking to his hand like, fear.
Yeah. I ain't got no fear, Lord. Show me what I fear.
I don't fear no more.
Man, I'm going to stop myself right here because I could go for about another 2 hours talking about everything I love.
My kippers, Anna.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. The chainsaw guy. That guy was
It's
loving
freaking hilarious.
He was loving it.
Yeah.
And, he's just jumping up.
Like you said, it's like the most quotable horror movie probably ever. Yeah, Zsa Zsa. Who gives a F what you think?
Yeah. I love that part.
Yeah. It's so good. That bringing in the sheets. Gonna quit.
Another thing that's great is like the set design from like Tom Savini, like on the underground layer, like when you see Leatherface chasing the stretcher on, like, man, look at all this crazy shit, the bone configurations of like the artwork of human skulls and bones, or like it's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Very elaborate. Awesome scenery.
Yeah. That was some of his best work, but you don't really hear people talk about it.
Yeah, yeah.
And the Leatherface's mask, oh man, that's sick as hell.
Yeah, for sure. So my next one's going to be Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah.
The ultimate zombie movie. The king of the zombie movies, in my opinion. Yeah, Ken Foree is a great protagonist. Yeah, the zombie makeup isn't like the best, but it's really grown on me, and I think it's fine. I think it works for this movie for sure. I do prefer the more heavily decomposed, decayed zombies. They have like parts of bones showing, eyeballs missing, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But it works. It works for this movie. They didn't have the budget for all that, and that doesn't really take away from it at all. I love the mall setting. I love the bikers, led by Tom Savini. Yeah, great stuff. Yeah, great movie. It's just phenomenal. It's a masterpiece in every way. It blew me away when I first saw it. It still blows me away to this day. It still holds up, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Just even though the zombie makeup isn't the greatest, there's still plenty of awesome gore and kill scenes,
Yeah.
to make up for that.
Definitely.
That's probably what they had to use all the budget for, the gore itself,
Yeah.
Like that one scene when all the zombies are locked in the cage or whatever. Like that's just like insane.
Yeah.
They're all mowing down on legs and arms and yeah.
Oh yeah. So good.
Oh, my next up is Hellbound Hellraiser 2.
Excellent.
Freaking classic. Sometimes I can't decide whether I like this one better than the original. I probably still go with the original, but it's an excellent sequel. One of the best,
close one.
without a doubt. And you got to give credit to Tony Randall taking over the directing duties from Clive Barker. I think he does a great job. It still has some fantastic atmosphere, I love the whole, Leviathan setting, a labyrinth there. Because feel free, explore. Yeah, I love the scenes with the Cenobites. Some great lines. Ashley Lawrence come back. She's fantastic again.
Yeah.
And you got the addition of the little girl, the puzzle.
Yeah.
Puzzle expert or whatever. Yeah, excellent, awesome sequel. Claire Higgins is great. I like Dr. Chernard. He's pretty crazy. Yeah, awesome movie.
Definitely. And one thing that even I forgot to mention when I was talking about it, but I like that when Julia and Dr. Chernard have that girl do the puzzle box, they're just like, oh, well, we'll let the Cenobites deal with her. When the Cenobites come out, even Pinhead's like, it's not hands that call us, it's his desire. So they just leave her. They know she wasn't really doing it.
Right.
I like that.
That's a good point.
Pinhead's a smart guy.
Yeah.
The only thing that kind of was disappointing is that the Cenobites died pretty easily,
Yeah, they got taken out way too quickly.
It wasn't much of a match.
No, it should have been more of a
Bernard
fight.
just takes them all out.
Yeah, it should have been more of a fight between the Cenobites and Dr. Chernard. I've always thought that.
Yeah. I always felt like maybe they lost so easily because Kirsty had just broke their minds knowing that they were human after all. And they were kind of like, wait, what?
Could be. They were distracted.
But still, so good.
What do you think of the fact that Kirsty got them to kind of, recall their former lives and,
Yeah.
It's cool. I've always
In concept.
Pinhead and Kirsty. I think Pinhead's always kind of had some respect for Kirsty.
Yeah.
He seems to like her. Like even in Hellraiser, Hellseeker, he still ends up making deals and shit.
Mhm.
So eager to play, so reluctant to admit it. It is your flesh we wish to experience.
Not your fill of bargaining. Great choice. My next up, such a good film, Phantasm 2.
Ooh, nice.
Now,
Love it.
Phantasm 2 is another sequel that a lot of people would prefer over the original, and I definitely see why. But I've still always preferred the original, the dark and creepy, like almost nightmarish aspect of that original.
Me too.
But the sequel, Phantasm 2, is also so much fun. You know, bigger budget, better effects. It's a lot of fun. This movie, and along with the third one, are really where Reggie becomes the Ash of the Phantasm franchise.
Yes.
And he's so cool.
Yeah.
You know, people do not like the fact that Michael Baldwin was recast with James LeGros. And while I like Mike in the original, I really liked him in the second one too. So by the time the third one came around and it was Michael Baldwin again, I was like, something just feels off now.
Yeah.
But
I kind of like James LeGros in part 2.
yeah. Though, you know, as much as I absolutely love the franchise, it is one of those, what the hell's going on? Like, this whole series is a dream at this point. It's so but on the subject of part 2, I love, you know, the whole time Michael is trying to find this girl who he shares like this psychic link with. The tall man is back. And I mean, for real, Angus Scrimm as the tall man, one of the most underrated and underappreciated horror icons ever.
Absolutely.
Like, he is so good. So yeah, to me, Phantasm 1 and 2 are just a 1-2 punch that never fail. I still like 3 and 4, 5. But yeah. Come on, a 4-barreled shotgun to take out the minions.
Yeah. Too cool.
Oh, like when he turns around and okay, boom, and they all scatter.
Yeah.
The tall man, he's pretty funny. He says some funny like hello and goodbye. Just like, he's got some lines too, like you think that when you die you go to heaven, you come to us.
Love that.
But yeah, Phantasm. It's always been one of my favorites. So good, fantastic.
That's actually my favorite in the series is Phantasm 2.
Yeah.
I love how eerie and ominous the first one is, but I prefer Phantasm 2. It's a little more straightforward.
Yeah.
It's definitely more entertaining, more action packed, and maybe
Yeah, I
not as
get that.
scary. But yeah, I love James LeGros as Mike in part 2, and Reggie was definitely the Ash of the series, like you said, from that point on. And he was just too cool. He's cool, just as cool as the ice cream he sells. Of course, his semi-Cuda and his quadruple barrel shotgun. He's just awesome. One of my favorite horror protagonists.
That's why I never personally ranked this franchise, because it would literally go in the order of release. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, pretty much.
But yeah,
Phantasm 2 almost made my my list, but it would definitely be
me too.
Yeah, I wanted it on here, but it would be number 11 probably. But I just can't with the others. The others are, I guess, just beat it out, just barely.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was a couple like that. I was like, oh, I really want to put this on there, but I couldn't.
Yeah,
I
want Phantasm 2 to be on the list.
Believe me, I got about 5 or 6 in the.
Yeah, it's hard to narrow it down to just 10.
Yeah.
There's so many good ones.
It is. It really is.
So my next one's going to be The Bride of Frankenstein.
There you go.
Love this movie. The Universal monster movies were pretty much my introduction to horror growing up. They were how I got into horror eventually. I always like scary stuff, but these were like the first horror movies I ever watched, and this was always my favorite. I do like it better than the original. And I think it's a nearly perfect movie. I just wish that like I said earlier, I wish the bride was in it a little longer. Because she's a great character, but like you said, she's so iconic. She's only in it for 5 minutes, and she's still that iconic. So she still has a very important presence, very integral.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my favorite Universal monster movie and one of my favorite movies in general. I just absolutely love it. I love Boris Karloff, who's always great. I love that he talks this time, has more of a personality, and kind of has more to do. I love Dr. Pretorius. He's awesome. Colin Clive is great, returning as Henry Frankenstein once again. He's just awesome as always.
Yeah.
Great sequel. It's a great movie. I could watch it over and over. I never get bored with it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah. Great pick.
For sure. I cannot argue with you. Well, that's a great introduction to horror there. That's the perfect introduction to horror, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, my next would be Psycho 2.
Nice.
Fantastic sequel. Oh, I'm sorry, Psycho Drew up here. Yeah, I mean, like you said, who would think that 20-something years later you'd have such a great sequel, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, in a way, it makes perfect sense because he was in jail the whole time, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He was convicted and sent to jail. And it's such a good story how, you know, you think he might be rehabilitated, and maybe he was at that point, you know, but they kind of drive him crazy, you know. Lila Crane, and it was great seeing her come back too. And Meg Tilly there, great character. I like you said, they had a little thing going there, even though she's doing her mother's bidding. It's like she kind of has some kind of feelings for Norman there. It seems like genuine. Like, you know, maybe he's not so crazy, you know?
Yeah.
But at the same time, her purpose is to drive him crazy and get him sent back to jail, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But I love how it always keeps you guessing, you know, is Norman really doing it, or is it them, or, you know?
Mm-hmm.
The suspense is just great. I think the suspense in Psycho 2 is even better than the original.
Mm-hmm.
It just keeps you on the edge of your seat.
I would agree.
It was an interesting idea that there could possibly be a different killer this time. It might not be Norman.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I won't give it away, but just in case you haven't seen it, but in case somebody in the chat hasn't seen it, but it was an interesting concept.
Yeah. But amazing performance by, you know, like you said, Anthony Perkins is incredible, like Oscar worthy, you know.
Yeah, he did great. How's it going, Drum Smash?
Hey, what's
up, man?
Good to see you. Yeah, Psycho 2 almost made my list. I wanted it on here so bad, but it'd definitely be an honorable mention.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really wanted it to be on my list, but when I narrowed it down to 10, I had to cut it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Right, we're getting down to it.
Yep.
Yeah, down to top 5.
Starting off, number 5 for me is going to be Friday the 13th, the final chapter. This is my favorite Friday the 13th film. To me, while it doesn't have the striking, I'd say, atmosphere of the original film, like none of the sequels really do. Because, you know, I'm a sucker for atmosphere. Like, if you can look creepy, I love it. But this film, from this film to me is like almost the perfect slasher movie in terms of the kills. Tom Savini's effects are phenomenal in this film.
Oh yeah.
It has my personal favorite Jason with Ted White. He's fantastic. Rest in peace. Corey Feldman. I mean, this film introduced my favorite franchise character with Tommy Jarvis. I think he's great. My personal favorite Tommy is probably Tom Matthews from Part 6. That's
Mine
just
too.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the character, it was a nice change up for once that it still took place in like a camp like area, but it wasn't just another summer camp with counselors, and you actually had a family aspect to it this time.
True.
So once again, great lines. Wait, where's the hell of the corkscrew? Which, you know, the what is that? The cleaver in the face, very Bay of Blood with that. But yeah, to me, at the point, this was Jason at his most brutal. The hacksaw death to the doctor.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I just think it's a fantastic slasher film, every single way. Friday the
I
13th.
agree.
Nice
Love it.
steelbook edition there.
Oh yeah, I just finally got that not too long ago.
Nice.
It was a nice upgrade.
Yeah.
Love it.
That seems like most people seem to feel that's the best Friday 13th.
Yeah, it was so close for me with that part.
For me, it was definitely an upgrade from 3 because I'm not a big fan of 3. Like I felt like, oh, come on. Like it's going into camp territory now.
Yeah.
But then 4 kind of brought it back to prominence, you know.
Yeah, I like 4 better than 3 for sure. So number 5 is going to be Child's Play 2.
Oh, nice.
Sorry, Jack. Chucky's back. I love Chucky. He's so awesome. In fact, if I had to bring one horror franchise on a desert island, I think it probably would be the Chucky series, only because it's so diverse and there's something different. Like each installment is totally different from the rest. That's what I like. You know, because the original and Brad and Chucky are like almost polar opposite. You know, but this is a great sequel. Some of my favorite Chucky one-liners are in this one. You've been very naughty, Miss Tettlewell. With the ruler and the evil look on his face, I love it. It gives me chills every time. It's definitely his movie. He's definitely in it a lot more than the first one. A lot of people have a problem with the fact that it's not as suspenseful and stuff. But the thing is, we already know the doll's alive. So, like, why waste time with, it might not be really him? You know, come on. We already know the doll's alive at this point. We've seen the first one. You know, don't tease us. I'm glad they don't. Alex Vincent returns as Andy Barkley. He does a great job. In the foster family this time, which was an interesting concept.
The young girl, what was her name? She was pretty good.
Kyle?
Yeah.
Yeah, played by Christina Lees. Yeah, she was great. His foster sister. Yeah, this time he doesn't have his mom to help him, so she kind of takes over that role, kind of protecting him and stuff. She wants to save him from Chucky. And Brad Dourif, of course, is great as the voice of Chucky once again. He's an amazing job. Yeah, I agree, Jarvis. How's it hanging, Phil? You damn women drivers! Yeah, so many great lines. Very quotable movie.
Yeah, it's easily the best sequel, I think.
Yeah, I agree for sure.
I always love that poster too. That's the best. Sorry,
Yeah.
Chucky's back.
Love it.
Yeah, I love the final act too. In the toy store.
Yeah, the climax is awesome in the doll factory.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Great choice.
Thanks.
I'm not the biggest Chucky guy, but I gotta admit it's a good movie.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Well, my number 4 is going to be Friday the 13th Part 2. Absolutely love Friday the 13th Part 2. I think it's one of the greatest slasher movies ever made. An excellent follow-up to the original. It's got all, like you were saying, the atmosphere of the first film.
Yeah.
And it's just amps up the action of the first movie, and it's the first movie with Jason as the killer. I love the sackhead look. it's scary. And yeah, this is when the franchise was still like scary to me. Before Part 3, like I said before, it gets like campy, but yeah, this is more of a serious horror film, and I think it's excellent. And of course, you got the great Amy Steele as Ginny, my favorite, one of my favorite final girls. Period. I love how she uses the child psychology against Jason in the end. One of the best final acts in horror history. I absolutely love that scene.
Definitely agree.
Yeah, amazing. Love this movie. Great action, great kills. Even though they didn't have Tom Savini coming back, they still managed to make really cool kills. Like,
yeah,
like the hatchet to the guy's the face in the wheelchair there when he. That's iconic.
Like the double impaling.
Yeah, right.
Spear. That was cool. Yeah, Ginny's my favorite final girl in the whole series.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might not have the most menacing Jason, but I think he's the creepiest. I think it has the creepiest Jason.
Yeah, I agree.
He's not like the most unstoppable. Or,
yeah, he's not like the strongest, like you said.
Yeah, he's not the Terminator like juggernaut that he would later become. Yeah. I think he's definitely the creepiest of this movie.
Yeah. Like maybe a more realistic.
Yeah, more realistic, a lot more mysterious.
Yeah.
Like he feels like he could be a real guy. He's not like this giant monster like he is in the later ones,
He feels like a hermit who lives in the woods and doesn't want anybody trespassing on his territory.
Right.
Great. Well, next up for me, without a doubt, such a fun sequel. Bride of Reanimator.
Nice.
Love it.
I came so close to putting that on.
Me too. It almost made my list.
Yeah. Like, I think we all know here that all three of us, Reanimator is one of our favorites of all time. Like, we all.
Absolutely.
In the sequel, while I still prefer the original, of course, this sequel comes very close. I love, of course, the returning characters with Herbert West, Kane, Jeffrey Combs, fantastic again. He's so good at this role.
Absolutely.
The effects this time are so much more experimental and creative with what they do. Like little hand eyeball thing.
Like the dog with the hand.
This clearly a lot of this inspired by Bride of Frankenstein.
Oh
but yeah, Kathleen Kinmont as the Bride of Reanimator was really cool. Even Bruce Abbott, like I like Beyond Reanimator pretty good. I felt like that movie was missing Bruce Abbott.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
I like that exchange between him and Herbert. But I thought he was still really good in this film. And yeah, there's once again some hilarious lines in this movie. God, they're using tools. Don't let the little head outweigh the big head. Yeah.
But you know, you're just a dead head.
A
nobody.
And this back when taglines of movies would always just be like, "Aha! I like what you've done there. Like this is date, mate, reanimate."
I love the opening with Dr. Hill is the best.
Yeah.
But you're not escape bait, not this time. His head's just floating around in the screen.
Yeah. Not to mention when he gets the bat wings on his head.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah.
He gets his wings.
So yeah, Pride of Reanimation, such a good sequel. Love it.
Excellent.
Yeah, great choice.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was so close to making my list.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely be an honorable mention.
Yeah.
So next one is going to be Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors.
Nice.
Love this movie. It's so much fun. It's definitely my favorite next to the original by far. It's the best sequel, I think. I like it even better than New Nightmare. That's most people's favorite sequel, but I think this one's better. I love the setting and the like the asylum or whatever, like the place for troubled teens, or like the halfway house or whatever it is, something like that, some kind of institution.
Yeah,
they're all having nightmares of Freddy, who's terrorizing them in their dreams, and of course Nancy returning is great. He's got some great kills, great Freddy one-liners. It's not as dark as the first two, but Freddy's in it a lot more, which is cool. Robert Englund has a lot of screen time, and he's just great as always. He's perfect as Freddy. I love the scene with the Freddy skeleton where his charred bones come to life and fight Nancy's father and Craig Watson's character in the junkyard. That was really cool. The stop animation effects were top notch. Like the scene where he makes the guy into a puppet.
Yeah, that's great.
Some really creative, really clever dream sequences this time. Great kills, like I said. Very quotable. This is it, Jennifer. Your big break into TV. Welcome to prime time, bitch. I love it.
What's wrong, Joey? Feeling tongue-tied?
Yeah. Love it. So many great lines, so many great moments. And I like how, like I said, the characters have powers in the dream world and how they're able to use them against Freddy, how they're able to fight Freddy with their abilities. That was a really cool idea.
Yeah. Some cool dream sequences too,
Yeah. Very cool. Nick pushes in the chat. How's it going, Nick?
What's up?
Cool effects too, like when you see the giant snake Freddy would have swallowed her and stuff.
You. Yeah, that was cool. Great seeing John Saxon come back.
Definitely. Cool characters like Terran. Yeah, I'm beautiful and bad.
Sorry, kid. I don't believe in fairy tales.
That's the chair for you, kids.
Yes, I agree. Pretty gruesome.
Yeah, You got Lawrence Fishburne on there too. Like that's
Yeah,
one of
as
his
Max.
first roles, probably.
Yeah. Yeah, he was cool.
Great cast, yeah. Patricia Arquette, yeah.
Yeah.
The original Kristen.
Yeah.
It's maybe not as dark as the first two, but it's fun. It's just fun as hell.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
Probably a little more creative,
Yeah, I think so too.
well written. Didn't Wes Craven have a hand in writing that?
I think so. I think he had something to do with it.
Yeah. All right, my number 3 is going to be Aliens.
Nice.
Of course. I mean, it's a magnificent sequel. I mean, like you said. And what's not to love? I mean, a lot more action, of course, than the original, even though I do personally prefer the original, but like it's different ways, Where the original was scary as hell,
Yeah.
This one's more action-packed and entertaining. And still another fantastic performance from Ripley, Sigourney Weaver as Ripley, and here she becomes like the ultimate, heroine,
Yeah.
And she got nominated for an Oscar, so that's how good she was,
Oh.
Awesome effects, Stan Winston, James Cameron did a great job directing,
Absolutely.
taking over, you gotta give him credit, taking over an iconic, movie like Alien and putting his stamp on it,
Great pick.
Making one of the best sequels, period, in movie history, not even just horror.
Yeah. For sure.
Hell yeah.
Get away from her, you bitch!
Yeah.
That's iconic. The Queen. That thing was sick. What a great design of the Queen.
Yeah, Queen Alien was awesome.
Pretty sick when you see them all hooked up to her like some kind of weird
Yeah.
all the eggs of the cocoons.
Yeah. Awesome pick. Next up for me, coming in at number 3, is A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warrior. Surprisingly, while this is my favorite Nightmare film overall, it's actually not as cut and dry as it used to be. Like a few years ago, I would say this is my favorite without a doubt, like 100%. But over the years, part 1 is like right beside it. Like, it's just because they're so different. Freddy in this one is scary but funny. That original one was straight terrifying.
Yeah.
And it's like as time goes on, I'm more preferring the scary Freddy from the first 3.
Yeah. Me too.
Like nothing will ever have creeped me out more than the first time you actually get to see Freddy in the first film, like during the alley and the. It's just odd. Like that was like ooh. But yeah, Dream Warriors pretty much everything you guys already said. It's a fantastic sequel. Great practical effects. Robert Englund killing it. Yes. And of course the song Dream Warriors. Like I'm already at the but Dream Warriors, that's a great song. Love having Nancy back. My favorite of the new characters has got to be Kincaid. He is
Yeah.
he'll kick his motherfucker's ass all over Dreamland.
Yeah, Ken Sagas is great as Kincaid.
To me, it's one of my favorite horror films. I used to, when I was younger, I used to watch 3 and 4 back to back a lot because they had that MTV kind of fun feel to them. But yeah, everything about it, Dream Warriors, is just so much fun.
It's kind of like, they went back to following up the original, like they kind of just skipped over to, even though I love 2, but it was great to see, Nancy back and kind of following up the first movie,
Right. We're the Dream Warriors.
Yeah, and I know there's a whole lot of like what they call requels this day. Like a sequel comes out that cancels things out. It's kind of for a while. Like 3 doesn't even acknowledge 2, so you can just watch it. Or hell, Texas Master. That whole franchise is requel.
Yeah, pretty much.
Two's kind of the bastard child of.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, but it has my pretty overall.
Yeah.
My favorite.
Yeah, charge my laptop. That's why I'm moving.
Oh boy, we're really getting down to the nitty gritty.
Yeah. My next one's going to be Friday the 13th, the final chapter.
Nice.
Favorite sequel of the Jason series.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Ted White is my favorite Jason. He was a lot more brutal this time, a lot more intimidating. Just great. Some great kills, a great character. And Tommy Jarvis, my favorite protagonist in the whole series. This is his introduction, this time played by Corey Feldman, of course. Yeah, great cast. I like Crispin Glover's character. I like his friend. I like the group this time. They're pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Great scenery, great suspense. One of my favorite slasher movies.
Mm-hmm.
I do like it better than Part 3. I like Part 3, but I like this one a lot better.
I agree.
I think it's the quintessential Friday the 13th movie in many ways, the definitive Jason film.
Mm-hmm.
Friday the 13th, the final chapter. Absolutely love it.
Nice.
Yeah, a lot of people consider Ted White to be the best Jason.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's great.
He probably is the most intimidating,
Yeah.
brutal Jason.
Yeah. There's no doubt that Kane Hodder is absolutely the most beloved and popular. And I love Kane.
Too.
Yeah, like Kane's great. But to me, Ted White, the way he would just kind of stalk you and then just run after you, it's like, oh, God.
Wouldn't be surprised if Kane was inspired a little bit by Ted White's Jason.
Mm-hmm.
Probably.
Yeah.
Well, mine is going to be the greatest zombie movie ever, Dawn of the Dead.
Nice.
Masterpiece. Yeah, I mean, you got the greatest zombie trilogy ever, too,
Mm-hmm.
First 3 movies are all freaking masterpieces to me. But this is the ultimate, the best of them all.
Mm-hmm.
awesome effects from Tom Savini. I love the the social commentary in this. George Romero's direction is amazing. It's such a weird. I love the Goblin soundtrack. It's so like bizarre, like the weird like mall music, and
Yeah.
it brings such a weird like vibe. But I love it. It's very, even though there is some humor in there, it is kind of quite grim,
Yeah.
Thinking
sure.
of the idea of a woman pregnant during this insanity, you're like, oh god, they're gonna bring a baby into this madness, It's,
Yeah.
but it's a really cool setting in the mall, and a mall at that time was a very new thing.
Yeah, true.
And I like how they kind of almost settle into it like it's their home, Oh, like in some scenes they're having fun just going through the stores and robbing the bank, taking all the money in the bank and stuff.
Yeah.
Chilling at the restaurant, having a nice meal. Like they're really like living it up, before. And then, of course, the biker gang comes and ruins everything.
I don't know why it's one of my favorite images of the film is when Peter and Flyboy are at the cash register and they're holding the money and they're shaking.
Yeah. But some of the stuff at the beginning too is insane. Like when the SWAT team takes out that group, and then the one guy goes crazy and starts like killing everybody, just because they live in a better house than he does, This shit's better than I got. He just goes nuts and just starts blowing dudes' heads off, and like,
Yeah. And you do get that one quick shot with that one head explosion when they shoot the guy's head.
yeah, it's crazy.
I think that was a great Tom Savini effect that he would do better in Maniac with the shotgun and the blast.
Yeah.
But still cool for the time. Great.
There's just so many iconic scenes, like with the Flyboy when he's trapped in the elevator, and next time you see him, he's like
Yeah.
a zombie, whole swinging the pistol around.
Nice. Yep.
It's so funny how he like never can hit any of the zombies, and the other guy's like, "Get out of here!" Like,
Yeah.
that's almost maddening. That one part where the zombies like chasing after him, and he keeps shooting the walls, and the bullets are ricocheting throughout the place, like in the boiler room or whatever it was.
Yeah.
He's only got one bullet left.
Yeah. Flyboy is not a good shot.
But yeah, I love all the characters.
Mm-hmm.
Ken Foree's a great.
Definitely.
Just awesome. It's epic, the most epic zombie movie.
Mm-hmm. Without a doubt. Well, my number 2, I had to have one on here, and that's going to be Halloween 2.
Nice.
Yeah.
We've talked about this movie a lot, and I could still talk about it for longer.
Me too.
It's my favorite sequel in the franchise. It's a perfect companion piece with the original, much like Hellraiser and Hellraiser 2. Like the fact that like everyone from the first film came over to this one, so it has that same feel to it. And like, yeah, I'd love to see someone make like a double feature, like put both movies on one disc and like edit them perfectly, because it'd flow, in my opinion.
Someone did that. Like I think there is like a bootleg cut like that.
Nice.
But it'd be great if they officially did that. That'd be so cool.
That'd be cool.
I mean, of course, you know, people would mention like, yeah, but his mask looks different between them. And I'm like, okay, well, he just got shot and he's fell and he's dirty, so maybe it just looks warped. I don't know.
Yeah.
But Dick Warlock, such an underrated Myers, a pure evil Myers. He is just, I don't know what it is. He just feels like the devil himself.
He does.
He sets his sights, and he may be slower, but let's get back into account. He did just get shot and fall off a building, so maybe he's a bit weaker this time, and he can't just charge quicker.
Yeah.
But it's almost like he's a Terminator in this movie. Like once he sets his sights, he's going straight for you. Just, I like the fact that this time around, this was a bit more of Dr. Loomis's movie. Like it shows much more of him looking for Michael and stuff like that.
And that's a great thing.
Yeah. You know, like Laurie definitely takes a back this movie in a hospital bed, most of it.
True.
And this is one of my favorite renditions of the score. Like, I love that more techno-y 80s, like, I love that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, my second favorite sequel of all time is Halloween 2. So good.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Love it. I agree.
Jump Smash.
Jump Smash.
I bet he was cool. My number 2 is also Halloween 2.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, it's not quite as scary or suspenseful as the original, but I like how Dick Warlock's Michael Myers is way more brutal, and the kills are like a little more gory this time, a little more violent, and he seems a little more pissed off this time, which is cool. I also love the hospital setting, that feeling of isolation and seclusion. It's very creepy, very ominous atmosphere
Yeah.
for a horror film, and really makes for a lot of suspenseful scenes for sure. Jim Lee Curtis as Laurie doesn't have quite as much to do this time, since she's kind of subdued through a lot of the movie. But Dr. Loomis has definitely expanded on his character quite a bit. We get to see a lot more of him, and he kind of becomes a little crazy towards the end himself in his obsessive pursuit of Michael, which is cool. And I love the climax. Yeah, just a great sequel all around. It has everything you could possibly want for this type of thing. It's easily my second favorite in the whole series, next to the original, of course.
Yep.
Thumbs up. Love
Absolutely.
it. It blew me away when I first saw it, and it still does every time I watch it.
Yeah. You know, maybe I just don't see it, but over time, I've heard people say the hospital scenes are extremely boring in this movie, and I said I have never been bored.
Yeah, I couldn't disagree more with those people.
I never felt bored watching this movie.
Yeah, me neither.
But yeah,
Those people with short attention spans.
yeah.
I think it's scary as hell knowing that this silent stalker is killing people, picking them off one by one in the hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know,
Imagine
And they
that
don't
you're in the
even know. They
hospital.
don't have a clue. You know,
Yeah,
because
you're
he
in the
doesn't
hospital
make a
and you're
noise.
wounded.
He doesn't make a sound.
Yeah.
He just
You're wounded in the
methodically
hospital and
picks people off.
you're vulnerable, as a hospital patient. That'd be terrifying having that come after you.
yeah. And
Oh, yeah.
you know, a hospital is already kind of creepy in itself. So to see like an empty one at night and a killer roaming around it.
Yeah. For sure.
Well, my number 1 is Halloween 2. Big surprise. Big surprise. Yeah, I mean, I've said it ad nauseum. I cannot get enough of this movie. I think it's fantastic. I think there's even scenes of brilliance, like some of the kill scenes, the way they're shot, are just almost like beautiful, but it's so disturbing at the same time. Like the scene with the hypodermic needle in the nurse's eye and stuff, and the way they show like Michael's mask slowly come to the light, and that was beautifully shot.
Yes.
And this whole film is beautifully shot. Like, especially there's one scene that I love when Laurie's being chased after by Michael, and the part where she goes around the cage and goes into the elevator.
Yeah.
Just the way that's shot is just so brilliant. Like, it's so scary. The tension, it's like pulse pounding, and he's just slowly, going after her, and you see this close up. He's stepping on the glass, and then the tension's mounting as he gets closer to the elevator.
Yeah.
It's just scary.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's awesome. There's something about Dick Warlock's portrayal that is just so creepy. The scenes where you just see him walking down the hallway, it just like sends shivers down his spine. Like, something about it, the way he moves, the way he walks. He just gets it. I feel like he took what Nick Castle did and the others in the first one and just kind of took it to the next level, made him scarier, more darker, more evil, more sadistic, and the way he so methodically picks these people off, and he plays with them too, like the nurse, Karen and the hot tub thing,
Yeah.
What a great scene.
Love it.
And it's just a great follow-up. You got the returning cast. You got, the great Dr. Loomis, played by Donald Pleasance. So awesome. It's great to see him kind of even more at the forefront in this movie. And he still just kills it,
Yeah.
You got Charles Cypher's returning. You got Marion Chambers. You got Laurie Strode, of course. Yeah, and a lot of people have a problem with the fact that Jamie Lee's kind of relegated to the room in the hospital bed, but it makes perfect sense. Look what happened in the first movie. She's injured. She's drugged up, trying to recover from her injuries, It's not like it doesn't make sense,
Yeah.
But when she finally does come to, she has a great performance, and once
Yeah.
the final act is amazing, freaking phenomenal. When Michael finally pops out and you see him in the red light of the mask, so cool.
Yeah.
And the music, boom, 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 boom. It's so like intense.
Love it.
But I think you got to give Rick Rosenthal credit too, which a lot of people don't. I think he did a great job taking over from someone as prolific as John Carpenter, and still making it scary and still having a lot of the atmosphere of the original film, and and of course you got to give a lot of credit to the director of photography as well, Dean Cundy. Yeah, I mean, he's amazing.
Yeah.
Like I said, the way it's shot is just beautiful. Like, I think in some ways even just as well shot as the original, It's got a lot of the look and feel of the first movie, and that's why it's such a great companion piece to the first movie, and none of the others get anywhere near that, in my opinion.
I agree.
None of them have anywhere near the same feel as the first movie, except part 2.
Yeah.
Shamarlo Scott's in the chat. How's it going?
So, yep. That is a fantastic number one, Sean.
Yeah. Certainly.
Yes. Yeah, my number one is Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, and I'm serious.
Killing me.
Uh,
I'm gonna go jump in the lake now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but for my real number one, this is my favorite sequel of all time. That's also tied with Halloween for my favorite horror movie of all time. We all know what it is. It's Evil Dead 2.
All right, it's nice.
Yeah. Evil Dead 2. What can I say about it? Masterpiece. A part of damn near my top franchise with Halloween 2. Yeah, Halloween and Evil Dead, they're my top two. They're what I love the most. You know, this is the film where Ash Williams was born with the chainsaw hand and the boomstick. You know, while it is more fun, something about the first one as well. The first one is just creepy as all living hell. But yeah, I've always just loved Evil Dead 2 the most. Henrietta is fantastic. Someone's in my fruit salad.
Someone with fresh soul.
You know, and when it comes to this franchise, I'm very serious. I don't hate anything in the franchise. Movies, TV shows, games. And, you know, I loved even Evil Dead Rise. I liked that movie a lot.
Me too.
With that movie, it made me realize that there are two Evil Deads. You have the Bruce Campbell Evil Deads and the ones without him that are more taken serious.
Yeah.
Like, even to Deadite design, really. Like, the Deadites in the original trilogy are monstrous and, like, the new movies just look like mutilated, bloody people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Ash Williams, favorite movie character ever. Yeah, I'll go ahead and stop. Evil Dead 2. Yes.
And that's also my number one. Evil Dead 2.
Oh, wow.
Love it. Yeah, this movie had the transformation of Ash from cowardly, meek, awkward geek to badass, one-liner spitting, shotgun-toting, chainsaw-armed hero. I love that. Yeah, we got to see it. You know, we got to see his growth as a character. Yeah, so many great lines, great gore. I love horror comedies, and this is one of the best. This is one of my favorite horror comedy, actually. It's funny, it's scary, it's gory, it just got everything. Great cast, great characters, great scenery, great music score, great effects, great ending. You know, the climax, very, very riveting. I just absolutely love it. I can't say enough about it. It's my favorite. It's always been my favorite horror sequel, and I agree with Horror Fan 88. It's also tied with my favorite horror movie of all time with Halloween. It's just awesome. Both thumbs way up.
That's another one that just barely missed my list.
Yeah.
Like you say, the how Bruce Campbell is like the gun-toting badass. I also feel sorry for him in this movie because he takes such a beating, you know, like all the crap that he gets put through, and it's like when his hand gets cut off and it's attacking him, smashing the plates over his head and stuff. I love that scene.
Yeah.
He just like flips himself.
Oh, yeah. It's so good. Yeah. It's fantastic. It's also, I've never given continuity to this franchise credit. I mean, there's really not a lot. like everyone's like, Evil Dead 2 is a remake. It cancels the first, but even if you watch Ash versus Evil Dead, they show scenes from both 1 and 2.
Right. It's a continuation. It's just the first 7 minutes or so, just a recap of Evil Dead 1. They couldn't get the footage, so they just had to film a quick.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that at first till I heard
Me neither. When I
Bruce
first
Campbell
watched it.
say that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, that makes sense then, because some of the same stuff happens,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
it's one of those things where I've told people that before, and they're like, think it's a remake. And I'm like, well, you can think that. I'll think it's a sequel. We're good.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. I think everyone had a great list here.
Definitely.
I agree. It was fun.
If anything, I'm going to run through my few little honorable mentions that I have.
Sure.
Films that almost made it. Night of the Demons 2,
Nice.
fun,
Love it.
just a whole lot of fun. Fright Night 2, of course.
Yes.
Great stuff. Return of the Living Dead 3.
Yeah.
Oh, so much fun. Bride's Dracula, of course.
Oh, nice.
That almost made my list.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Even Return of the Living Dead 2. It's a goofy movie, but I still thought it was fun. But looking back on it, it wouldn't have made my top 10.
Yeah.
And finally, The Gate 2, just because I don't hear a whole lot about it. And I thought,
Oh, nice.
So,
That's a good one.
so that are just my few honorable mentions. And of course, Aliens and Child's Play 2. And so many to name.
I know, there really is.
So many good ones.
Mm-hmm.
I'd just give one Bride of Reanimator. This is the one that I wanted to put so bad on, like, it's almost painful. I can.
Yeah. I hear you on that.
It's like you have Bride of Frankenstein on there. How am I going to put this above that or whatever? That would be like sacrilege, wouldn't
Yeah.
it?
You guys ready to talk about some Testament?
Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
The Legacy, their debut album. That was their original name, Legacy. They
Right.
had Steve Zetro Souza as their vocalist before he went to Exodus, replacing Paul Bailoff.
Mm-hmm.
Then they got his friend Chuck Billy, who's Chuck Billy. So the thing about thrash metal vocalists is they don't have to be like technically great singers. You don't have to have a Rob Halford or a Bruce Dickinson for a thrash metal band. But Chuck Billy, I think, actually does have a really good singing voice, and he sounds like a thrash metal vocalist. He can do
Right.
both, and he's got a really wide range. He's actually my second favorite thrash metal singer next to Joey Belladonna from Anthrax, and he's just awesome. Great voice, great range. I saw him live, and he put on a phenomenal show. He hits his air guitar thing and stuff, and hits those high notes. And then Alex Skolnick is my favorite thrash metal guitarist, right there with Marty Friedman from Megadeth.
Nice.
He's amazing. He's just got some serious chops, and yeah, they're on this album, and off to a really great start.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I will say that Chuck Billy is my personal number one favorite thrash metal vocalist.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Nice.
Like that, he could do it all. He could do the thrash, he could do highs, the death metal lows,
Mm-hmm.
which he would do much more later on.
Right.
But this album is a fantastic debut. I mean, starting off with like Over the Wall with that heavy.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I've always found that this is a very technical band in a way. Like some of the riffs are very licky and
Yeah.
Overwall, Burnt Offerings, The Haunting, First Strike Till Deadly. Just a great debut album up there, Haunted by Blood.
It's got that raw feel to it.
Yeah.
A lot of the songs are co-written by Zetro Souza, I noticed.
Yeah, that's right. Before he left.
Yeah, I'm glad that, at least on my CD anyway, you know how some CDs will have the parental advisory thing? Well,
Yeah.
my cover, but it's right there on the inside.
Mine's on the back. Explicit lyrics, parental advisory.
Yep.
Oh yeah, it's right there too. Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Oh yeah, Alone in the Dark. Another.
It's a great song.
Yeah, like you said, a really solid start.
For sure.
Yeah, as I've mentioned already, Testament is my favorite thrash metal band. You will quickly see that. I mean, spoiler alert on my part, anyway. I don't necessarily hate anything they've ever done. Like, you got some lower ones, of course, but I don't flat out hate anything from this band. So, yeah.
Not a lot of bands you could say that about.
Nope.
Most people say that too, that they have one of the most consistent album.
Yeah. Definitely agree.
Is Alex Skolnick one of your favorite guitarists in metal?
Yeah, for sure.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is also one of those bands that would many times have what they would call a super group. Like,
Yeah.
wow.
Because they had Steve DiGiorgio on bass and Gene Hoglan on drums.
Yeah.
Which is, one of my favorite rhythm sections. Of course, they were in Death together.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were. The Testament's very much like a super group.
Yeah. I damn near love the new stuff just as much as the old stuff. To me, they both sound fantastic.
Yeah.
But this next album,
The New Order.
yes.
Great songs. Eerie Inhabitants, the title track, Trial by Fire, Into the Pit, Disciples of the Watch. My personal favorite is The Preacher. Follow the Preacher!
Yeah.
I love those high notes he does on that, and I love the opening riff. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na. That's just so sick. When they played it live, when I saw them, I was just in heaven. I was like in awe of what was happening. Such a great song. Great album. This is the first CD I ever bought by them, and I was immediately hooked. Love it.
I have to say, going back and listening to these, this was my favorite, definitely.
It's my favorite too.
Thrash as fuck.
It's definitely my
Chock
favorite.
full of freaking nasty riffs,
Yeah. My favorite song on this album is probably Disciples of the Watch. Oh, that riff is just it's heavy.
Hell yeah.
Into the Pit is a classic that they still play today for concerts.
Yeah.
Chuck Billy. Chuck Billy is the greatest air guitar player ever. Like, you watch him live, you like.
Yeah.
But one thing I love is that when they play Into the Pit live, he uses the mic stand like a cauldron.
Yeah. So cool.
Trial by fire.
I love the drums on that song.
Yes. Even the title track is so good. Into the Pit, Preacher. It's a phenomenal album.
Yeah.
I think it still has that raw feel of the first one, but a lot heavier. Whole other level.
Eric Peterson's a great rhythm guitarist as well. I forgot to mention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I found out like maybe 4 or 5 years ago that Eric Peterson has his own black metal band.
He does.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's like I forget the name of it, but he's the vocalist, and
Oh
he's
wow.
not.
Huh. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I have to send a song later to let you hear.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
How is it?
It's not bad. It's like symphonic black metal, but his vocals on it are not bad at all.
No.
But while The New Order is a fantastic album, how do we feel about the follow-up, Practice What You Preach? Because I think it's another great album.
Really solid, yeah.
I love it. Absolutely love it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great one.
It's really well produced. I'm sure you noticed that.
It is big time.
Very crisp and clear and perfect sounding. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really cool cover too.
Yeah.
Cool artwork.
Yeah.
Love that.
I love Perilous Nation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That riff is awesome.
Yeah. Some of my favorites are the title track, of course, Practice. Envy Life, Blessed in Contempt. Even the ballad was really good.
Yeah.
Sins Edition.
Nightmare is a good song.
Oh yeah.
Really good and really good follow up to the New Order.
Yeah.
Good track, I mean.
Yeah, this is an album that I found many people don't necessarily hate. They just think of it. It's a bit of a lesser album because there's not like a whole lot of like thrashy riffs on it. Like stuff like the ballad, people are like, yeah, it's pretty good. And the title track, but I've always found that this was pretty underrated because while it's not as good as the New Order, it's still a solid album. I think.
Oh
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I get that though. Maybe it's not quite as thrashy,
Yeah.
but still plenty heavy.
Yeah.
I think I like Chuck Billy's vocals even more though on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although a little bit Hetfieldish.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does sound a little reminiscent of Hetfield.
Yeah. It's a really good album, but for some reason, the next album, their discography, I've always loved, and it's always been one of my top favorites. And we will get to that. And of course, Souls of Black.
Souls of Black.
You know, I will say, I know a lot of metalheads out there hate ballads. Like when a metal band does a ballad or a slow song, it's like a negative to some people. I don't mind it because, you know, I find like the legacy onto.
Yeah, I like it when they do
There's
that.
a couple of really good ones on this too.
Yeah.
Like Face in the Sky, Absence,
Yeah.
Falling Fast, Souls of Black. Yeah. It's a good album. And I love the album cover too.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. This is when they started getting really heavy too.
Yeah.
And they kind of started to almost border on death metal a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Chuck Billy's vocals mostly
Yeah.
kind of had that sound to it a little bit more than the previous.
Yeah.
Oh, Dragon Lord. 1-2's in the chat. How's it going, 1-2?
Yeah.
The Dragon Lord is the band that Peterson's in.
Yep.
But this one feels like New Order to me, doesn't it? Like
Yeah.
it's not as polished as Practice What You've Reached. The production, you know, it's more like New Order was, like a little more raw and
Yeah, true.
But yeah, I definitely like this one more than Practice What You Preach. But it's still great. They're all great so far. But yeah, Billy would slowly get more into the experimental vocals, where like he'd quickly deliver one of those like ooh, oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Souls of Black is a great album.
Yes, indeed.
Well, I'm curious what you think of the next one.
The Ritual.
Yes. I've heard a few discuss this album, saying how this album definitely felt more commercial overall.
Yeah.
At the same time, I still really enjoyed it for the most part. It's not like favorites, but songs like Electric Crown and Troubled Dreams, I really liked. Yeah. I wouldn't say it's one of the more memorable albums overall. I still love it.
Would you say this is their like Black album?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
This would
I
also.
like the Return to Serenity, though. I think that's a good track.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I love that one.
I think it could definitely be their Black album.
Yeah. This album in itself would also kind of be a bit of a change up going forward, like where this album is and then where the next one comes in are different for reasons we'll get to. But I like the
this one felt a lot less like thrashy, you know.
Yeah.
And then you see them on MTV a lot. The Electric Crown, I remember seeing that a lot on MTV.
Yeah.
It's a cool song.
Yeah. I would say this album trades speed for a bit more beefiness to the riffs.
Mhm.
But yeah, I could definitely see how it's qualified as like the Black album for Testament.
But the Ritual is a cool song. I like the title track.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And they started going the other way with the next one, right?
Yeah.
Darker.
Yeah.
Low.
Oh yeah.
Now, some metalheads say this was a low point in their career. I actually disagree. I actually like this album. It was the first without Alex Skolnick. James Murphy on guitar. It is a bummer that Alex Skolnick isn't on it because, like I said, he's in my face. But James Murphy does a more than adequate job. It's also, I believe, it's also the first without drummer Louis Clemente. I think John Tempesta.
Yeah, that's right.
If I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I love the title track. I love Chuck Billy's deep demonic growls on that. Very death metal inspired, I would say. With the title track, I love Trail of Tears, kind of a slow, emotive song.
Yeah.
Kind of like a ballad.
Yeah, I like that one a lot.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Shades of War is another cool track. Yeah, I think it's actually pretty underrated. I understand a lot of the criticisms it gets. I do. And like I said, it is a drag that Alex Skolnick's not on it. But I think it's a lot better than most people say, to be honest.
Yeah. Once again, I agree. I really like album songs, like you said, like Shades of War and Dog Faced Gods are just heavy as hell.
Yeah.
This is the album where Chuck Billy would really start to incorporate those heavier, darker vocals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To some degree, on other bands that might not work good, but for me, it all fits in Testament. The cleans, the lows, it just all fits perfect.
Yeah.
And this is like one, I'd say, of two albums by this band that people would qualify as the worst. And I don't think Low is that bad. Like, I wouldn't say it's the worst album by them.
Yeah.
Definitely not top, but
Yeah, it's not one of their absolute best, but certainly not one of the worst.
Yeah.
It's not bad. Like, I don't think it's
No.
bad. Like,
Yeah, I really like it, actually.
Yeah. If the Ritual is considered the Black Album, then I feel like some would consider this to be the Load for
the
Testament.
load.
Yeah.
No. Like Testament only got heavier and darker.
Yeah. I like Low a lot better than Load.
Load.
Yeah. But I overall, it's just the next one. People would probably be like, "That's the worst. I hate it," and I still don't.
Yeah.
Most
Demonic.
people say that one.
Demonic is my least favorite. I'm not a big fan of this album. Eric Peterson, I believe, was the only guitarist this time. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think they really had another. I think they only had one guitar this time. If I believe, don't quote me on that. I'm pretty sure. And I think Gene Hoglan played drums, which is cool,
Yeah.
of course. But it's still my least favorite. It's not terrible. It's not god awful or anything. I wouldn't even really say it's bad per se. It's just not quite as good as the others, and I don't think it's quite as memorable. I also don't own it, so I haven't listened to it quite as much. Last time I tried, I wasn't too impressed.
Yeah, I would definitely say this is Testament's damn near full blown death metal album. Like, there's like no cleans really on this album.
Yeah.
But I think the songs that stuck out to me, of course, are like Demonic Refusal and The Burning Times.
Yeah.
And while it is almost death metal, there's almost some like industrial metal sounds at times with like certain riffs like dun, 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 dun. But yeah, it's not terrible, but not the best.
Yeah. It has a few cool tracks. It's decent.
Yeah. I love the artwork of the album though, with like the pinhead person. It looks like that.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a cool cover.
Yeah. But
It's funny, the revolving door of drummers. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of great ones.
Yeah.
yeah. But while we will get to it, oh man. Demonic, while I thought it was good, the next album is one of my absolute favorite. It's one of my top. It's tied.
Mine too. The Gathering.
Yeah.
I love this album. Oh, it's so awesome. Yeah, James Murphy on guitar once again. Steve DiGiorgio on bass and freaking Dave Lombardo on drums.
Yes.
Wow, yeah. Yeah, Eyes of Wrath, True Believer, and 3 Days of Darkness are killer tracks.
Yes.
Absolutely love them. Oh man, Chuck Billy's vocals are just top notch, just phenomenal. Yeah, I love this album. I think it's underrated.
Yeah.
This is one of the very best. It might be my second favorite next to the New Order, quite possibly.
Oh man, yeah, this album phenomenal. Dave Lombardo just brought it to the next level. Oh, yes.
Yeah, can't go wrong.
One of my favorite is Down for Life. Just that dun 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 dun, dun. And then Chuck Billy delivers that evil sounding that. Then you have DNR, Do Not Resuscitate, which is a banger as well.
Yeah.
3 Days of Darkness, Eyes of Wrath. This album is just pure thrash metal with little sprinkles of death metal in there as well. Yeah, I can't talk highly enough about this album.
Me neither. I love it. Absolutely. I think it absolutely slays.
Yes.
I'll be right back.
All right.
Well, I'll be honest, this one I haven't heard yet, so now you guys get me excited. So that's going to be the next one I check out.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I do think you'll enjoy this one, especially with Dave Lombardo in there.
Oh yeah, sounds great.
Yeah, yeah. It's one of those things where Testament can change their sound every now and then, but somehow it still sounds good. Like, they
Yeah.
don't go too far with it. But yeah, when you listen to it, I'm curious to know your favorite song on it.
I'll let you know.
Hell yeah. But now that you've been getting more into the band, where would you put Chuck Billy as far as thrash metal vocalist?
I don't know. He's definitely good.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd have to think about that.
Yeah. Like I know we'll get to the later albums of today, but to me, he still sounds good. Still sounds heavy.
He's definitely one of the legends of,
Yeah.
and the one constant in Testament. You know, he's been on every single album.
Yeah. But I also love the history of it too. Like I love that Sousa was in the band at one point, and it was
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
yeah.
Even though I've never personally been a fan of Sousa, he's my least favorite, one of my least favorite thrash singers. But that's just a cool fact, you know.
Yeah.
James Moss is in the chat. How's it going, James?
What's up? So yeah, I mean, with that being said, Sean, I look forward to your thoughts on The Gathering.
Me
Great.
too.
Yeah, I was just telling him I haven't heard that one yet, so
Oh,
now
yeah, you
I'm
gotta check
excited.
it out. Yeah, it's awesome.
But actually, with this one, there would kind of be a break in between. Like this is like 1999, and the next album was all the way in 2008.
Yeah.
Formation of Damnation.
Yeah, if we're not counting, I guess we won't count First Strike, Still Deadly, because that was just re-recordings of songs from The Legacy and New Order. And even Steve Sousa sang on a couple tracks.
Yeah.
But it did feature the return of Alex Skolnick, which was cool.
Yep.
That's true.
Yeah, I guess we'll go straight to Formation of Damnation.
Oh, yeah. A banger, too. Damn.
Yeah, I really
like this one, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good one.
This one, like songs like, of course, the opening For the Glory, and then More Than Meets the Eye, Robots in Disco. Yeah, I love songs like The Evil Has Landed and The Persecuted Won't Forget. Yeah, this one was definitely back to the more thrashier side of things.
Yeah, Paul Bostaff in there.
Yeah.
Kicks ass.
Yeah, Testament, they just kill. Oh,
and you got Alex Skolnick back, full blown.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people consider this to be the reunion, like the return of Testament as we knew it. The revival of it.
Well, yeah, like you said, it's more back to the thrash roots.
Yeah.
No, Dark Roots of Earth, Brotherhood of the Snake, and Titans of Creation. I haven't listened to those three all that much. I have heard them, and what I've heard I liked, but I'm not that familiar with them. So I'll just say that I recommend them. But
yeah. I've listened to them quite a bit, so I can go through some of the favorites.
Right on.
Dark Roots of Earth. I remember when this came out and loved the artwork.
Yeah, that is really cool.
Really sick cover.
Songs like Rise Up, of course, Native Blood, one of their most popular. Old Embrace, Last Day for Independence. It was just another absolute banger of an album.
Right, it's another one that really went over well, you know, like really solid.
Yeah.
That's the last one I heard before I went and revisited the old ones, you know.
Yeah. There's just Everyone was on time. It was another banger.
Yeah.
Then, of course, in 2016, we got Brotherhood of the Snake, which was another cool ass cover. Be the third.
Yeah.
I'd say out of all the newer ones, this might be the one that I've heard the least because I don't own this one as well. But once again, the track is great. The Pale King, Stronghold, Seven Seals, Centuries of Suffering. I overall enjoyed this one. I still say I like Dark Roots of Earth a bit more. But yeah, and of course, with that leaves us with the new album, Titans of Creation.
Hell yeah.
This, in my opinion, was one of the best of the newer years, I guess. This had excellent, heavy riffs on it, like Children of the Next Level, Dream Deceiver, Night of the Witch. Night of the Witch actually features Eric Peterson's kind of black metal vocals on that track. So,
Oh, yeah?
So that's pretty cool.
Nice.
My favorite song on the album, probably City of Angels, possibly. The riff, brutal. Yeah. To me, this album was great. You kind of have there's the Legacy logo on the first album. Kind of hard to see. But then they kind of redid it on the back of this one.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
I gotta hear this one, too. I haven't heard that one.
Yeah, I need to listen to it a little more, too.
Cool.
Nice.
Killer artwork.
Very
That's
cool.
really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think I own quite a lot of albums, but my albums aren't like to the movie level that I have. So I guess it's fitting that I own Testament's first album and their most recent album.
Nice.
But yeah, Testament is on constant rotation for me, and I listen to that constantly.
Do you play some of their tunes on the guitar?
I
can play the opening riff of The Preacher.
Yeah.
Nice.
I can play the solo to Return to Serenity.
Nice.
I can play. I'm forgetting. But yeah, one thing I wanted to mention was I rarely ever hear people talk about this, but there was a point where Chuck Billy and Steve Souza had like a little side project band, and they put out an album, and that was really good too.
Double Death Patrol.
Yes, that.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
the song "Corruption" is really good.
Oh yeah.
It's like a super group. They have like 2 vocalists, like 4 guitarists, like 2 basses, and like 2 drummers or something like that.
Yeah. So I'd finish it off by saying Testament, my favorite thrash band. While the discography not perfect overall, to me they still never really let me down.
I agree.
I love Testament.
Testify.
Yeah. I would recommend this DVD too, Live in London. I would say it's definitely worth checking out.
Nice.
The live DVD. Yeah, Testament Live in London. Really cool stuff.
When was that?
I believe it was 2005.
Oh.
Yeah, 2005.
Nice.
Pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Chuck Billy showed up on Killswitch Engage's new album. Crownless King.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard about that.
What was the name of that song again?
Crownless King.
You may be surprised, but if you listen to Crownless King and then off The Gathering, Down for Life, it's almost like an homage riff.
Oh, really?
Huh.
So.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah. But another fantastic show. We covered.
Great stream, guys.
Absolutely.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us here in the Morbid Hour. Mhm.
Yes, 45th anniversary of Halloween. How about that?
Oh yeah, cool. Very cool. All right, guys. Well, until next time.
Till next time.
Fare thee well.
Later.
Have a great night, guys.
You too.
Good night.
Peace.